Okay, what's up, everybody? We are officially live. Guys, do me a favor. If my audio is coming through, let me get like a thumbs up or a yes in the chat because right before I got on, I was testing the audio out and I wasn't sure if the microphone was picking up the audio. So before I jump into it, because I have some important stuff I want to unpack today. So just before I get into it and go and run on a 30-minute long monologue, I want to know that the audio is coming through. Okay, Hardcore Creative says it's coming through. Awesome. Good, good, good. I love your name. Audio's coming through. Awesome. And if you're hanging out on Instagram, just letting you know any comments you leave on the Instagram, I cannot see. I'm on the YouTube. I'm on StreamYard. So I'm only going to see the comments on YouTube. So if you want to come over to YouTube and we can hang out, have a conversation back and forth, the link to the YouTube is in my bio. All right. The title of today is Detach or Die: Why Caring Less is the Ultimate Power Move. And we have a lot to unpack here today. I'm going to jump right into it. This may not last an hour. I know normally my episodes go an hour. Today, it's going to be different. I'm going to share what needs to be shared, answer questions if we have questions, and then we're going to jump off. If that's 30 minutes from now, 40 minutes from now, 60 minutes from now, we'll see what happens. But once the message is complete, we're gone. Now, I labeled it Detach or Die because last week I was having a conversation with one of my good friends, good mentors, good entrepreneurs, Donovan, and we were talking about the subtle art of not giving a fuck. And yes, I am going to cuss a little bit today. It's okay. Bear with me. You don't have kids around. We were talking about this because I mentioned to him that I had this moment, I had this experience last week going out to a networking event here in Arizona. And I'm going to paint the picture. Last Thursday, Jonathan and I went out to the Arizona Entrepreneurs Networking event. This is a inner circle networking event for some of AZ's best and brightest entrepreneurs who have been in business, some of them as new as 5 years, others have been doing business 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I had set an intention that there was a single person I wanted to connect with and have a real in-depth dialogue because last month, this event only meets once per month. And last month in February, it was my first time going out to the event in a long time. And when I got to the networking event, this is unlike the real estate events I've gone to in the past. When I'm at a real estate event, I set an intention before I enter into the room on what it is that I want or need or desire from the space. I want to be intentional about the fact that I'm going to be in a room with power players. So most of the time when I go to real estate events, I'm looking to raise money. I'm looking to get deals done. I'm looking to potentially get new clients that I have in my coaching business. So there's an intention behind me, or I'm speaking on stage, right? But there's a very clear intention. There's something I want from it. With this Arizona Entrepreneurs event, my intention was a little bit different. The intention was I want to go into the room and I want to see who I resonate with. I'm always looking to expand my network. And I don't want to always be in an echo chamber where I already know what the people are going to talk about. Like when I'm in those real estate spaces, I, for the most part, already know what the room's going to be about. When I go into these new rooms, I'm dealing with people that are in medical sales. I was talking to somebody that runs the cancer wing of the local hospital here in Arizona and sits on the board for the hospitals with the children's hospitals. And so I set the intention that I want to go out there. I want to be my most authentic self, and I want to resonate with whoever I resonate with. I want to feel out the room. And so when I got to the event, there was one person in particular at the space who was giving off a vibration. They were giving off an energy that I immediately noticed when they walked in the room. And there was something about this guy. I couldn't quite put my thumb on it. I couldn't put my finger on it, but he just, I found him attractive. Like not like in a I'm attracted to him in like a physical sense. Like there was an attractive force, a magnetism about his energy, about his aura, about the person. Now, keep in mind, I know nothing about this dude. I don't know anybody in the room except for Jonathan, who I came with, and the host of the event. And so I'm wanting to go over and talk to the guy, but I was already in the middle of a conversation. And here's the interesting thing: the conversation I was in, I didn't know how to break away from it. See, we had been talking as a group of guys, we had been talking for the last 20 or 30 minutes. And I'm something of a people pleaser, but like a people pleaser in recovery. I used to be way worse with it, but like you guys have ever been in those conversations where You enjoyed it, but now it's time to break away, but you don't quite know how to break off from the conversation and you don't want to be rude. Well, I was finding myself in that situation. And so I end up staying in the conversation way longer than I needed to, way longer than I wanted to. But later on in the evening, they did what they call speed networking, where you had to go and talk to somebody you hadn't spoken to yet, 2 minutes, quick, who are you? What do you do? What are your hobbies? That kind of thing. And so we're doing these rounds of speed networking, and I spot him, and I'm like, all right, this is my opportunity to go over and get a conversation. So I go and I approach him and we start to lock into a conversation. And immediately, like again, I'm feeling his energy out. But as we start to engage in a conversation, these two younger 19-year-old guys come over and they butt into the conversation. Now, as they butt in, they're being nice, but they're also not reading the room, not reading the energy, and they just insert themselves into the conversation and start to take it over and derail. In that moment, and this is where I fell short. And I want you guys to know this. I didn't know how to handle that situation because I really wanted to keep talking to this guy to learn about him, to figure out what's up with this dude's energy. And at the same time, I didn't know how to tell those kids who just came into the conversation to go fuck off, right? Because that internally, that's genuinely where I was at. I wanted to tell them, piss off, go kick rocks, guys, get away. I want to have a conversation with this dude, but I didn't know the skill set of how to do that politely without looking like a jerk. Because this is my first impression with him. This is my first impression with these guys. I don't know who they are. And so, long story short, I end up losing the conversation. I lose control of the conversation, and we never really get to connect. And on the drive home, Jonathan's asking me, like, hey, did you meet anybody interesting? And I said, well, there was one guy here at the event. His name was Jeremy. I said, I got to talk to Jeremy for a brief moment, but I didn't really get to connect not on the level I wanted to, but I feel like I should have connected more. Jonathan goes, oh, bro, you met Jeremy? And I'm like, dude, who's Jeremy? Like the way he said it, clearly Jeremy is somebody. He's like, bro, Jeremy is the real deal. And I'm like, all right, tell me more. Like, what's up? What's his story? And he starts unloading on me a little bit that he's like, yeah, Jeremy, big into the personal development space, big into the mindset, big into the soul work, has worked closely with Tony Robbins for years, has gone out to scale 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure businesses, has exited, now gets consulted to help people scale their business and have profitable exits, and is now partnering with these people. And he's just giving me the resume. And keep in mind, I didn't get any of this. I didn't get the opportunity to get any of this. But as I'm getting this resume, I'm like, wow, that really matches along with the energy. The energy I felt from this dude was impressive. The resume I'm hearing is impressive. And I'm thinking to myself, damn it, I missed out on being able to connect with him on a deeper level, not only because those two younger guys butted in, but also because of my inability to break away from the conversation earlier when I first noticed his energy to be able to go out and go and get what I wanted, to go and chase after my own curiosity, to go and have that conversation sooner in the night. Like I waited, I procrastinated acting on an internal instinct because I was more concerned with how do I not appear rude? How do I not hurt other people's feelings? How do I make sure everyone else around me is comfortable? And so I decided, you know what? The next time I see Jeremy, I'm not letting that occur again. I'm not letting that happen. I'm not procrastinating on a conversation, on a relationship, on a connection. And so fast forward to past Thursday. This past Thursday, we were at the event again. Shout out to Devin Butler for putting on the Arizona Entrepreneurs event. If you're in Arizona, you absolutely need to go and plug into this event. I don't have an affiliate for them. I don't get anything from saying that. It's just a really damn good room. And so I'm back at the event this Thursday, and I set the intention on, of course, I want to go and connect with and resonate with whoever I connect with, but I also want to intentionally make it a point to go in. If Jeremy's there, I want to go talk to him. And so thankfully, he ends up being at the event. And I found myself in the middle of a conversation with two other guys. Again, good conversation. But this time around, I decided, you know what? I'm here for a purpose. I excused myself from the conversation, which is something, by the way, I never really do. How many of you put a yes in the chat if you've ever found yourself in conversation and you now want to leave the conversation, but you don't because you didn't want to be seen as rude. You didn't want to hurt the other person's feelings. Anyone else ever been in that situation, or am I the only one that gets suckered into staying in conversations longer than I want to be? And so I politely and respectfully just said, right, hardcore creative says, yeah, like it happens to you as well. So I was like, hey guys, like hold up, put my hand on both their shoulders, like guys, I'm loving this conversation, but I see someone I want to go and talk to. I'll be back. Excused myself. By the way, I thought doing something like that, it's silly now as I'm telling you, but I could just in the moment, energetically, I thought doing something like that would be seen as so rude. They're gonna be like, who does Marlon think he is? He's too good for us. And again, as a person that like I'm a people pleaser, I don't want people to think negative of me. I don't want to feel this rejection of hurting other people's feelings. I step away and I go over to Jeremy. And he's at the bar. He's talking to a group of people. He's in the middle of a story. And I basically insert myself in politely. I don't interrupt their conversation, but I let my presence be known that, like, hey, I'm here to have a conversation. And they stop and they look at me. And I'm like, no, no, keep going. I just want to talk to you in a moment. So he finishes up his story and he turns over to me now. And I say to him, like, hey, last time we were at the event, you and I met very briefly. We didn't get to really engage though. We didn't really get to know each other. And I had to come over and let you know you have this energy about you, this vibration about you. And I don't quite know what it is, but I'm attracted to it. Like I noticed it when you walked into the room last month. I immediately noticed your energy before I even saw you. And again tonight, the energy is still just as loud, just as vibrant. And quite frankly, I'm just curious as to what that is. So I came over to investigate to see what that is. And he's like, oh man, thank you. He took it as a compliment. And as someone who does personal development and energy work, he recognized, truth into what I'm saying. And so we continue our conversation. And as we're having the conversation, this is what I start to pick up on now. He's holding strong eye contact. He's very confident. He's very involved in his language. He's communicating with his body, with his eyes, with his words, with everything. And as we're talking about a few minutes in, it hits me. I said, like, I figured it out, Jeremy. I got it. I know what it is. I understand now what it was I was picking up on you. Holy shit. You are so authentically you. You are so comfortable in your own skin that it acts as your presence acts as a mirror to anyone who engages with you. And what does a mirror do? A mirror reflects what's being put in front of it. So him showing up starts to reflect us back upon ourselves. And I said to him, I said, because you're so authentically you, your mirror forces us to see and feel our own sense of self, our who we are internally, and to not hide our sense of self because you're not hiding who you are. A lot of people are here and they're talking about what they do in business and everybody's putting their best foot forward, but a lot of people are wearing a mask. They're faking. They're talking about how great their business is doing. Meanwhile, they're actually struggling right now. They're talking about how awesome the year has been. Meanwhile, they're in the place of the most confusion and loss they've ever been. And yet you are just showing up as yourself and so present in the moment. And as it's all landing on me and it's downloading into my brain, I'm explaining to him, I'm like, what's happening right now internally with inside of me? I am feeling a pressure, a desire to remove the mask that I have on that I didn't even realize I was wearing because you guys know me, Mindset Marlin. I do work on myself quite a bit. And I pride myself in trying to show up as authentically as I humanly possibly can. And yet there are still situations and areas. I'm not perfect, but I am progressing. There's still situations and areas where I still carry and I still wear a mask. I still have a sense of insecurity. I still have a sense of I'm worried about being judged. I still have a worry and a fear of rejection. I still have these things that I carry with me. And in this situation, out at a networking event, I was beginning to feel some of those insecurities come up again. And yet, when I was having this conversation with him, what started to happen was I was being shown in real time that I have a mask on and that I have the opportunity to begin removing the mask. And internally, the worry is like, but what if I remove the mask and you see the real me and you don't want to be here? And I'm not talking the real me in the form of business, in the form of numbers, in the form of any of that crap. I'm talking at a soul level. I'm talking at a personal level. And you all know what I'm talking about when I say the real you. I'm talking about the parts of you that you are afraid to show other people. Some of these parts of you are so damn scary to you that you yourself don't even look at it. And all of this in real time, I'm having this experience, and his mirror is telling me, hey, it's okay to remove your mask. And I'm thinking to myself, but if I remove the mask, what if you see me and you see the real me and you're telling me your energy is telling me, no, 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 here's what's going to happen. You're going to take that mask off. And you're afraid that I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, oh my gosh, this is ugly what I'm seeing. And he's like, well, here's what's going to happen. You are going to take that mask off. And I'm going to go, whoa, holy moly, dude, you are ugly. But I'm not looking away. I'm locked in. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here with you. And I accept what I see. I love what I see. It's you that I see. And I explained to him that's what his energy is downloading into me right now. And here's the interesting thing, y'all. Like what I just told you, right? Like taking the mask off. And by the way, in that moment, like I started to peel back the mask and I started to peel it back. And as I peeled it back, I found myself being even more of myself. I found myself saying more of the things I wanted to say, engaging in the conversation, taking the conversation where I wanted it to go without necessarily caring about creating any form of friction or discomfort in anybody else. Because quite frankly, if friction or discomfort gets caused inside of anybody else, that's not on me. That's on them. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem. If what I have to say, if me sharing my most authentic self, me sharing my version of truth it creates discomfort inside of you, I'm sorry to say this, that's not a me issue. That's not my fault. That's a you thing. Because no one else can make you uncomfortable. No one else can make you happy. No one else can make you sad. No one else can do anything. At the end of the day, you are in charge of you. That's on you. And so as I started to lean more and more and more into myself, and this is all happening without him, he's not coaching me through this. All he's doing is showing up as his most authentic self, being himself to the fullest. And it's giving me permission to do the same. It's an invitation for me to do the same. And I start to find that through the night, now I start engaging and networking like I never networked and engaged before. I'm starting to connect with people. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody in the room. I'm connecting. I'm more charismatic. I'm just having all these experiences, all alcohol free, y'all. Right? Like you don't need alcohol to get rid of the inhibition, but you do need to make a decision. You need to choose to remove the mask and not give a fuck about what people think about what they see under it. And now it does help. It was a cheat code that I had someone who was willing to stand there and help me face my biggest fear. And by the way, he doesn't even know he's doing this. He's just doing this. I mean, to a degree, he knows he's doing this actually because he's been practicing this kind of stuff for the last 20 years, right? Like the guy worked closely with Tony Robbins. He's worked on himself on the deepest of deep levels. And because he's gone that deep with himself, he's able to help others get that to that level. It's the same thing that I do with my clients. Because I've gone so deep on myself in certain areas of life, I'm able to then go with them and take them to those places. And not even that I take them there, I simply create an environment that makes it easier for them to tap into it because that's the frequency I'm on. He was on that frequency of total alignment, on total authenticity, that it allowed me to tap into that frequency. And so then what I started to discover, because I couldn't help but reflect on it. I've been reflecting on this since last Thursday. I mean, guys, like I have been obsessed with this experience since last Thursday because something clicked again. A new level has been achieved inside of my life. Because I started reflecting on, well, why don't I do that in every area, in every facet? See, because I've had insecurities in the past. I think every human at some point has insecurities. Some people carry those insecurities all throughout life. When I got into real estate investing, for example, I started off wholesaling. I would have to get on the phones, talk to homeowners, negotiate contracts, and look to get them under contract, get the properties under contract at a negotiated deal. And I was great at building rapport, getting on the phone and talking to people, building a friendship, but I was miserably terrible at asking for the deal, asking for the price, asking for the like to actually close. I could not get myself to close. Why? Because I was so worried that me asking you to sell your home for a certain price was going to cause so much friction that you were going to be pissed off at me, that you were going to dislike me, that you would reject me. I was afraid of the rejection that could possibly come along with asking for the deal. Again, how many of you have felt that? Like, how many of you recognize that in areas of your life, you have not gone for it, right? You haven't asked for the deal. You haven't asked for the promotion. You haven't asked the girl out, the guy out. You haven't asked for the job. You haven't asked for the thing you actually desired because you were afraid of the rejection. Because in this case, if you got rejected, it would hurt. I am telling you right now, fear of rejection has been one of my biggest limiting beliefs. And it's been with me since the beginning up until recent. And so what's interesting, right? I start reflecting on after this experience I had with Jeremy, and I'm driving back home and I'm thinking about this. I'm like, wow, isn't that interesting? Like, why was I so scared to go and talk to certain people? It's like, oh, afraid of rejection. And so what starts happening now the following day, check this out. The following day, I wake up, I go to get some work done, and I decide I don't want to work from home today. I want to go and I want to work from a coffee shop. And I decide I'm going to ride my bike to the coffee shop instead of drive. And so I ride the bike over to the coffee shop. And as I'm going to the coffee shop, I find myself coming through the parking lot. And in the parking lot, there's two guys standing outside by their cars, a brand new Porsche GTS and a brand new Ferrari F80. So beautiful, expensive, fast cars. And they're just outside talking to each other. And I ride by and I go, oh man, guys, like really, really cool cars. And they're like, yeah, thanks. And in my mind, I'm thinking, like, I want to talk to him. One of the guys is a little bit older. One of the guys is like really young, like in his 20s looking. And I want to like further the conversation. I want to ask more questions about the cars, ask more questions about what they do to make money. Ask, but here's what happened. My old habitual way of being a people pleaser, not causing friction, let me give the compliment and then like get out of the way. Don't be an annoyance. Don't bother them. Right? Is what I'm thinking. Like leave them alone. They're here enjoying their cars and coffee. Don't bother these guys. And I ride away. And as I get off my bike and I'm sitting down, I'm thinking to myself, well, what the hell? I really want to talk to those guys. Why do I feel like I'm going to be a bother to them? Why do I have this insecurity that they're going to say, leave us alone, that they're going to reject me? And in that moment, I decided, whoa, I responded. There was an emotional loop that created a response in me. I reacted by playing small, by dimming my own light and getting out of the way, getting away. Don't be an annoyance. And I was like, I don't want to live like that. And I made up my mind in that moment that I'm gonna go back over there right now. Like I put my bike down, put my bag down. I walked over to the guys and I was like, hey, actually, guys, like these cars are really sick. Is it cool if I take a look inside? And I start talking to them, start engaging with them, right? Find out their names, Mike and Tristan, super cool dudes. Right. And we get into a whole long, now we're like hanging out, talking for 30, 45 minutes. I find out what they did for a living, what they were doing to make money, all this fun stuff. And what's so fascinating was that inside voice that was telling me I would be rejected. I realized it was lying. It was scared. And because it was scared, it was telling me to shut down. Guys, you got to detach from that inner voice that is lying to you, that's reminding you of all these fears. If the fear is made up, it's not real. And so what's funny is the reason this was like in the moment happening was because I was reflecting back on the night before where I was like, hey, I had the opportunity with Jeremy to take the mask off, to be fully authentic. And regardless of the outcome, it just felt good removing the mask. It felt like I was back in control of my life again, back in control of myself again. Because what's being in control? Being in control is choosing, it's making the decisions, not just acting reactively. And so then the next day, I was able to do it again. Guys, you want to look for the situations in your life that cause you to clam up, to shell up, to freeze. For some of you, it might be like you're clamming up and you're shelling up and freezing because you're afraid of rejection. Others, you might be afraid of abandonment. Others, it might be because you are trying to impress a person in your life that you never got to impress. Whatever the thing is, you want to identify what's causing you to have these limiting beliefs. What's your worry? What's your fear? What's your worst case scenario? What do you think? Like, actually start to play it out in your head. What do you think will happen if if you show up as your authentic self? Like, what's your worst case scenario that you believe is going to occur? I started leaning into this. And now I started, more importantly than just analyzing it, because we can all analyze it till we're blue in the face. Go sit on a psychiatrist's couch and let them psychoanalyze you all day. But then I started doing something about it. I started acting on it. And I've been like on this nonstop rampage for the last week now of just like, I'm only saying like I'm no longer filtering myself. Because again, check this out. Here's the irony of this. This is the most ironic part. And like I am getting hot up here. Like I'm clearly getting passionate about this. Let me ask y'all real quick. I'm going to turn the fan off. Are you getting value from this? Is this conversation valuable? Drop it in the chat if this is valuable. If you are like, because before I even started this, I promised myself, I was like, man, I'm going to share my most organic truth, my most vulnerable truth right now, even if only one person gets value from this, and that one person is just me having a conversation with myself. But I'm curious to know if other people are out there and this is starting to resonate with you, that realization of you're responsible for showing up as your most authentic self. All right, Chinmay saying yes. Savan saying yes. Good, good, yes. All right, awesome. So we are in the same boat. We are cut from the same cloth where we have some similar makeup. So you and I, we're similar, guys, which I love. So check this out. I've been on an absolute nonstop rampage to look and intentionally seek out opportunities to go and be my authentic self. What's that mean? It means like as I'm walking now through life, as I'm engaging with strangers, I'm not just on autopilot right now. I look for when that feeling comes up, when that feeling of insecurity starts to pop up, that feeling of like, oh, you're afraid of being rejected right now. If you say this, normally that feeling would come up. I wouldn't do anything about it. And then it might be the end of the night when I'm reflecting on my day, I would start to feel the regret for having not acted on it. But because I'm making a choice to act on it, what's happening is I'm not, it's not happening at the end of the night that I'm starting to feel that regret. It's now happening that it's after 30 seconds, like the guys with the car, right? Like it was like 30 seconds after I stepped away from them, after giving them that compliment, that I started to feel the regret for having not engaged, having not shot my shot. And now I'm going back and I'm fixing it right there on the spot. I'm saying what I actually want to say. I'm expressing who I want to, I'm expressing me in faster, in real time. And what I'm working on doing is condensing the lag time in between the moment, the regret, and then the fixing of the regret, so that it can almost get to the place that in real time I can see that, oh, if I don't act as myself, there will be regret. Let's just pull it out authentic. Like, let's just be you. Let's take the mask off right here. Let's not even wear the mask. Let's not even bring the mask out today. And if the mask does somehow sneak itself on, just like Jim Carrey, right? Like in the movie, Jim Carrey like the mask would just like appear back on. Like if the mask finds itself back on me, rip it off as quickly as I notice it comes on. Rip it off. Start to not give a fuck, because at that point you start to be free. You can't be controlled by the opinions of others. You can't be controlled by the perspective of others. And here's the funny thing, right? So I mentioned earlier, it's paradoxical and it's ironic. It's ironic that all of this came personally from my desire to make other people feel comfortable. I mentioned I'm a people pleaser in recovery, right? I'm not a people pleaser anymore. I used to be historically a people pleaser. So people pleaser in recovery. And what's interesting about that is my mind said, I created this narrative, I created this story, this untruth, that if I play dim, if I'm boring, if I pull back and lower myself, I won't rock the boat and everyone else will be better for it. I won't create any friction in a conversation, in a dynamic, in a relationship. I'm going to play it safe with every interaction I have. Right. And because I do that, it'll be better for everyone else. And yet, go back to last Thursday, interacting with Jeremy. Jeremy didn't think like that. Jeremy thought, I'm just going to show up as me. I don't know what's going to happen with you. That's none of my concern. I'm going to show up as me. And as a result of him showing up fully as himself, what happened for me? It created friction, but a positive friction. It created growth. What comes as a result of friction? What comes as a result of resistance? Strength. When you push through resistance, strength is created. Strength is gained. And so then I start thinking about like, well, what is my intention? My intention is, you guys know this. Why do I do these podcasts? Why do I create content? Why do I do coaching? Why do I travel around and speak on stages? Why do I read the books I read? It's all because I'm on a mission to help as many people as I can, personally, professionally, and financially, by empowering their minds, by showing them a better way. People don't work on their personal development, and I find that strange. And so I create this stuff. I create this content. I create the courses. I create the workbooks and the workshops and all the things I create in order to help people empower their position. And now I'm realizing I'm adding to another tool to my tool belt, which is showing up even more raw and even more authentic to the world to create friction in our conversations, in our dynamics. Because if I'm going to be 100% me, I am then officially not only giving you permission to be 100% you, but I'm also showing you in real time how to be you. And what's so interesting about this, and this is why I'm giving a lot of props to this dude, Jeremy, is I'm unpacking all this for you guys in detail and giving you like insight. He didn't have to do any of that. He didn't have to explain any of this. He didn't explain any of this at all. And yet I experienced all of this. We didn't have a formal coaching. We didn't have a formal sit down. And by the way, he does coach. He coaches at a very high level. He coaches entrepreneurs that are 7, 8, 9-figure earners, just like I do. I coach 6 and 7-figure earners. He coaches at an even higher level than I. And yet he didn't have to say any of this. And I said, I started looking at it. I was like, yeah, this is the sort of impact I need to have. Everyone is now officially my coaching client. Not that everyone signs up and everyone pays me. Everyone is now my coaching client because they're going to run into the most authentic version of me whenever I'm out, whenever I'm at the grocery store, whenever I'm at Costco, whenever I'm riding the bike through the neighborhood, whenever I get on a YouTube live like this right now. Hopefully you can feel it from me that this is me expressing myself as who I am. And if you don't like it, that's okay, but that's on you. That's no longer my concern. It's not my concern right now if you like me or not. It's not my concern if this makes you uncomfortable or not. It's not my concern if you feel some type of way. I can tell you what my intentions are, and that's cool. But how you feel is none of my concern. I'm inviting you to be your most authentic self. I'm inviting you to take the mask off. I can't speak for everybody else in the world, but I'm telling you right now, if you take the mask off in front of me, I'm promising you right now that I'm not going to look away. I'm not going to run away from you. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to like you. You still might be someone I don't like, but I will at least acknowledge you and I will see you for who you are. That's all I can promise. And so when you go out into the world, if you've been suffering with that disease, to please kill it. And here's what it takes to kill it. The decision to decide, right? Make a choice to kill it, right? Like a lot of the how to, like when we're looking for the how to, like what are the 3 easy steps? Here's the 1 step: do it. I know it seems overly simplistic because it is. Just kill it off. Here's what you're looking for. You're looking for the cheat code of, well, how do I do it without feeling discomfort? I don't know. I don't know how to do it without feeling discomfort. I'll tell you, in the moment of taking the mask off, I was scared. I was uncomfortable. I was worried. I went through all the anxieties, all internally. I kept a straight face, but internally, I'm freaking out. And then I did it. I just did it. How does a person jump off the cliff? They just jump. How's a single mother of 8 raise all 8 kids? She just does it. Right? Nike got this one right. Nike's slogan, just do it. They figured it out. That's the secret. Just do it. Think about it. Like if Nike's slogan were just think about it, how many sneakers do you think they would sell? Not a lot. How many of their athletes do you think would perform if the slogan was just think about it? No, it's just do it. This is your reminder. And if you're listening to me right now and you've been listening to me, clearly this message is somewhere inside of you, is resonating with this message. Somewhere inside of your soul, inside of your being, inside of your consciousness, inside of your awareness, needed to hear this message. It needed to be reminded. It's been looking for you to say, like, yes, yo, Chinmay, pay attention to me. David, pay attention to me. I'm here. I've been trying to come out, but I don't know why you keep covering me up. I don't know why you keep putting a mask over me. Why aren't you showing me to the world? Why aren't you showing me to your family? Why aren't you showing me to your friends? Just do it. Just release it. So guys, I promised you this episode was going to be a quick one. I said we're going to be in and out. Now, if you've got questions, go ahead and throw it in the chat. I'll make some time to answer the questions. If you got Q&A or if you got something you want to share, go ahead and throw it in the chat. I'll throw it up on the screen if you got insight that you want to add to. I'm loving this experience right now. And I'm just going to tell you right now, personally, this is what's going to happen inside of my world. I'm going to be going on this challenge. Like, it's not like a 90-day challenge or a 45-day challenge. It's just going to be a challenge to get to the point where, like I mentioned, that lag time of like the emotion comes up and I could spot the regret that would occur 30 seconds later, then I could go back and fix it. I'm on a mission to condense all of that to the point where it's all happening in real time, where I can just instantly either have the mask off, keep the mask off, or take the mask off in that moment without needing to go through any of the regret, without needing to feel that pain, to release and essentially get to that place of just not giving a fuck in all regard. And I'm going to share this with you guys right now. What happens is you're going to conquer this in one domain, but you need to practice it in all domains of life. What do I mean by that? I got to the place of like, I don't care when it comes to being on the phone with homeowners. Like, so when it came to real estate sales, wholesaling in particular, I got to the point of it didn't scare me anymore. It used to scare the living bejesus out of me. And now it doesn't phase me. Yeah, throw an offer out. I don't care if a homeowner rejects my offer. I literally do not care. That's why I was able to JV so many people's deals. That's why people was like, hey, can you get on the phone? Because they still cared and I didn't. And I thought I'd conquered it. I thought courage was now just oozing out of me. But then I realized it was domain specific. It was just in that area. How did I find that out? Well, one day I was out and I saw a pretty girl and I wanted to go ask her out and I froze again. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? I freeze? But I'm a closer. I don't freeze. I don't. No, I go out and I ask the pretty girls out. Well, apparently not, because I froze. I saw the guys with the cars. I wanted to go and ask questions. I froze. And so I started to realize it's not domain specific. And it's your responsibility to take this art and to incorporate it, the subtle art of not giving an F, right? To learn to detach and to take it into all areas where you find yourself letting insecurity bubble back up again. So I see David threw a question in the chat. Let's pull it up. Also, dang, look at David's profile pic. David is looking swole. So David says, what other steps did you take to get away from people pleasing or caring about others' thoughts? That's a great question, David. This actually came from me having a conversation over the weekend, Sam and I, where we had probably like a 2-hour long phone call over the weekend. And we were talking about how interesting it is when we sat down and we reflected on the fact of what does it mean to even like care about the opinions of others. While we had this conversation, we noticed like, all right, like what's the reality of caring about their opinions? The reality is it holds us back. And so we started to ask, well, whose opinions should we care about? Like where does our life get empowered? Like who can we give that authority to? That I'm going to give the authority that your thoughts about me are going to improve my life and on a consistent, controllable measure. And you start to look around, it's like, well, can I give it to my mom? Can I give that authority to my mom? Like my mom's opinions of me is going, no, well, no, what if my mom gets mad at me or my mom doesn't understand what I'm trying to do? All right, so I can't give it to my mom. All right, what about my mentor? Should I give it to my mentor? Well, no, my mentor is more focused on their life than they are my life. Sure, they want to help me, but at the end of the day, it's like, man, so who can I give authority over me? Like whose opinions should matter more to me? And then the only logical answer we came up with was it's our own. And then what's so fascinating is we actually started to analyze. We're like, well, let's look at who do we know at a high level who has achieved success financially and in other areas, but they still care about the opinions of others. And we started listing out a couple of entrepreneurs that we knew, high-level entrepreneurs. But because we know them so intimately, it was like, dude, they still have these insecurities. In fact, they would be further ahead if they weren't so caught up in the opinions of their students, in the opinions of their friends, in the opinions of the other people in the industry, that they find themselves getting caught up into petty nonsense. And they're actually, even though they're making great money, they're actually holding themselves back and limiting their earning capacity. I'm not going to say any of their names because, that's my opinion of their situation. But when you look at an entrepreneur who has actually let go and does not actually give a fuck, Alex Hormozy was one of the first names that came to our head. And we're like, man, this dude, not for nothing, he's in his early 30s and he's doing hundreds of millions of dollars and is only growing exponentially quick. And it's because he's gotten to that point where he genuinely, your opinion of him doesn't matter because he has such a strong opinion of himself. When you look at a guy like David Goggins says it all the time, like, you can't motivate me. No one can do any of that stuff for me because only I can do it for me. And so one of those steps was taking the time to actually reflect and have that conversation and just break it down, like, logically, like, whose opinion can benefit my life? Like, who can I give that authority that what they think about me should matter more than what I think about myself? And you realize, like, there literally is no other human on planet Earth, when you think about it logically, who deserves the authority. So by going through that logical exercise, we arrived there. We arrived there. And then even just going through it in your personal life and think about every time, because we've all had these moments, the moments where you get to the point of like, hey, I am actually going to disconnect and care less and care more about my own thoughts of me and care less about your thoughts of me. When you have done this in the past, ask yourself, did it work out for your benefit? And so once you realize the answer is yes, then here's my opinion on how you now get to make it a habit. And you're doing, like, you do what I'm doing. And I'm doing this in real time right now. So my evidence is coming from real experience in real time, which is identify what is the emotion that comes up. The triggers may change, but like, what emotion, what happens internally? How do you feel? Right. And actually get yourself to that point of feeling like, God, it's like, I could tell you exactly like how it feels when I'm nervous, when I'm afraid of rejection. Like, I can feel it viscerally through my body. So David, I can actually get myself in that place where if I close my eyes, I don't even need to close my eyes to feel it, quite frankly. Like, I know what that feeling feels like. And when that feeling happens, I feel it, like my throat starts to close up. Like, I don't want to speak. And like, I want to habitually kind of crawl into myself. And what we do is we choose a new response to that same emotion. When that emotion comes up, choose a new behavior and commit to going and doing that new behavior regardless of the outcome. That's how you start to get to the point of not caring about what other people think. Because after you go through that experience, you will be liberated. Because at the end of the day, you're a slave to it. And the way you know you're a slave to their opinions is if you choose a response that you don't want to do. Now they dictate your behaviors. They're dictating your actions. And so the way you get over it is by you staying in control of, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to act. I am choosing this reaction. I'm choosing this response, not reaction. So, David, love that question. How do you handle when people are loud and aggressive? I mean, honestly, people don't really get loud and aggressive with me at all. If people are loud and aggressive, I, for the most part, stay calm. I found that saying of you get more flies with honey. You really, like, if one person starts yelling and you start yelling, all you're doing is causing them to dig their heels in deeper, for them to get even more aggressive, for them to get even more angry. You're just pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. How's that going to work? It's not going to help. So instead, what you've got to do is you actually let them get all their anger and aggression out. Because what is anger? Like, anger can't sustain. It's a fast, hot, quick burning fire. And so it burns out quickly because it burns up everything around it. And then there's no more fuel for it. So your job, your responsibility when people are getting loud and aggressive is to not give it any more fuel. Let it burn itself out and remain calm. And what happens is, as they start to come back down and you've remained calm this whole time, people will very quickly reflect and see, oh, shoot, I'm the idiot. I'm the asshole right now. Happens on seller calls all the time. When I get a red seller and they are aggressive and I just continue to remain calm, they burn themselves out. And then you're still just as calm and you're not judging them when they calm back down. But a lot of times people are aggressive because there's pain. They're hurting from something. Let them express. Don't run away. And what ends up happening is those people end up being the softest teddy bears after they've burnt out. But most of the time, most people run away or they fight them and they never get to express the softness. That anger, that aggression is a cell, it's a mechanism, it's a protective mechanism so that they can't show their real selves. It's another mask. It's another mask. Remind yourself this under everyone's mask, we're all the same, right? Like at the level of the soul, we're all equal. This is why I like the yogis say what do they say? Namaste, right? The yogis say namaste. Namaste is how they end their practices, it's how they greet or how they say goodbye to one another. And namaste means the light in me recognizes and sees the light in you. When they refer to the light, they're talking the soul, the consciousness, the awareness, the spirit, whatever you want to call it. So I love that. I love that. Deborah says her most important relationship is with God. I agree with that. I love that. Um, know thyself and believe who you are. Awesome. So, guys, do me a favor. We're gonna start to wrap this one up. 46 minutes. So I told you guys we're gonna be somewhere between 30, 40, 60 minutes. I didn't know how long it was gonna last. I love that y'all asked the questions. David, Benna, Deborah, appreciate y'all for being here. Penny, good. Oh, Pansy, good to see you. Yup, I'm a yogi. Namaste. Namaste, Pansy. Good to see you. And so here's what I want to ask. These episodes, if they're valuable to you and you received a lesson that resonated within you, I want you to think about intentionally somebody who else should hear this message. You know, over the weekend, I like when I hear a good YouTube video, a good podcast, one of my favorite things to do is to send it intentionally to a handful of people that I know are going to get value from the message. And if you got value from the message, you already know what the message is now. You just sat here and you listened to it. And if you're thinking to yourself, wow, this was helpful and somebody else I know ought to hear this, do me a favor and share this out. This is how the channel show grows. It grows purely through referrals. Right? I'm not running ads. It's basically Instagram and you guys sending this out to other people. And so that's how we grow this channel. That's how you help me to help more people. And I'm loving this. So I love it. Manuel says I'm going to mass spam and see who blocks me. I love that. But make sure we're intentional about sending it to the people who like, hey, I really think this is going to resonate with you. So like when I watch videos, like I don't just send it to everybody in my contacts list, but I will think intentional, like, oh, you know what? Like this past yesterday, I sent a video specifically to my brother, to Sam, to Hung, to Caroline, and to two other people because I was like, this message resonates so deep. It was Keston and Donovan. This message resonated so deeply with me, and it resonated based on conversations we've had in the past. So I wanted them to also get that value. But guys, I appreciate y'all for being here. Each Monday, I'm going to do my best to show up at noon. So if you haven't done so already, this would be a good time to subscribe to the channel. That way you get a notification when I am going live. As you see, what's going to happen is Mondays at noon, Arizona time, I'm going to do my best to go live. Some Mondays I will not be able to go live simply due to travel. Right. Next Monday, I have a flight. So there's a good chance I won't be on the live. But as long as I am stationary with an internet connection and a laptop, I'll be doing these podcasts on the Mondays. It's going to be into the mind. It's going to be about mindset. I'm going to have different guests coming on. In fact, I have a girl that I met at the meetup last week where I told her, I was like, I'm going to have you come on the podcast because she's got an interesting story. She's been through hell and back and has managed to keep a smile and keep herself growing and progressing. And those are the sort of stories personally I like to hear. Those are the sort of stories that motivate me to get up and to keep working and to keep building my business and to keep, it's not even about building my business, quite frankly, to keep building the life that I desire, to keep designing the life and keep designing the person that I am, you know, because at the end of the day, that's what we get to do here. It's a blessing that we get to do this. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you share this out with a friend. I will see you back here next week. And if this really did speak to you loud, if this was like something that you really resonated with, let me know by sharing this on Instagram and tagging me, right? Like just screenshot us here today, screenshot yourself listening to this and tag me on Instagram. And that way I know who got value from it. Like that's one of my favorite things is when you guys tag me on these episodes. So guys, enjoy the rest of your Monday. I will see some of you later on Tuesday for our Think Big podcast. Peace out.